Scrapbookers, this is Megan and I am back today with a new layout. So for today's layout, I am doing a scrap lift. I'm also using my For the Love of Homemade Kits kit for the month of July. So for this layout, I had this really cute photo of Piper and Max, and they're both just staring at this ball. Like, it's just the funniest picture to me because I know their personalities and everything. So I used an embossing folder two actually embossing folders that I had in my kit this month, and I created with a few different of the 6x6 paper pads before I even started this layout. This was probably like a week ago or a week before I made this layout. I had just used two different embossing folders and just embossed on some papers so that I could just have them ready in my kit. So I don't have that footage on here, sorry about that, but the papers that I do mat the photos with are embossed. I'll try to have some close-up photos so that you can see that really well. Okay, so here you can see I chose 4 different pieces of paper and I cut them down smaller to smaller sizes, and now I am using just regular scissors and I am roughing up the edges, and I love this look that this creates on my layout. So at first I tried to use my close to my heart little fussy cutting scissors, but they were too small for my hands to use, and so I went to my big Chamel glitter scissors. So here I am going to finish off with this navy polka dotted paper, and then I'm gonna start gluing everything down onto this mint sheet of paper. I don't remember if this mint cardstock was in my kit. I don't think it was. I think I pulled it from my stash. But when I make a kit and if I need something from my stash, I don't mind pulling from my stash. And that's kind of what's fun about using a kit, is if something from the kit sparks an idea and of something that's in your stash, then that kind of is the idea or the point. It's just there to kind of get you going and get you started. And that's what I love about homemade kits. I mean, you can do that with regular kits anyway from a store, or that you buy from a kit club. I just really enjoy doing it with my homemade kits. So now here I am going to bring in these envelopes that I had cut apart from a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I am just adding them as layers. And I really am super happy that I added this envelope piece of paper with all these like postcards and different kinds of envelopes, because I think it added a lot to my kit. I use these as layers on a lot of my layouts this month. So here I'm just bringing in a ton of embellishments, and I embellish and layer on this layout so much, and I absolutely love how this layout turns out. I think this is probably one of my favorites that I've made with this kit this month, and I just really love it. So I'm just gonna keep adding and embellishing and just having fun. So I find that cute little camera that's down there in that bottom cluster, and then the word snap. And I thought that was perfect because, so this is a photo, I think a couple days after we got Piper or something. And so Max is learning to share his toys with Piper, and I caught them on the couch this one day, and they were both just staring at this ball and trying to ignore it, but knowing that, you know, the other one wanted it. So it's just the funniest photo. I love this photo. I'm almost done. I think I have 2 more pocket pages that I need to make of like the first few weeks of having Piper, and then I'm all done scrapbooking that event of adding Piper to our family. So I'm hoping that this week I will post a couple of pocket pages to end out this event in our lives. So you might get a pocket page on Wednesday and Thursday. I haven't decided yet when I'm gonna do like what I'm posting. So after I'm done doing this voiceover, that's what I'm doing, is I'm gonna figure out how the rest of this week is gonna play out. But I super love this layout and I had so much fun with it. So here you can see I am adding some foam to the back of this little phrase. It just says "love this life," and I'm going to add it to the bottom of the page on the right hand side, and it's kind of just off by itself. It's not necessarily part of any of the clusters. I have 3 dedicated clusters in this layout, but then I also have that cluster that's at the top left of the photo, and so I just decided to add this "love this life" as kind of one of its own little offshoots of clusters. So now I'm just gluing everything down. I glue everything onto the photo, I think, and then I start gluing the photo down to the papers into the background. So I just start from the top and then I go down to the bottom. I really liked this that scrap piece that I had, the 6x6 paper, and so I decided to cut out the middle of it so I could use it on another layout, and so that worked out really well. I do actually, I don't remember adding, so I added that bottom piece back again because I wasn't sure. I was thinking that it wouldn't get covered up, but then I totally cover it up. So I didn't have to add it in the first place, but oh well. That's kind of how scrapbooking goes, right? You add things and then you cover them up. Especially with mixed media backgrounds. Which is probably the biggest reason why I don't do a ton of mixed media backgrounds, because when I do mixed media, it's like I want it to show. So now here I'm going to start layering everything in this bottom cluster, and at first I'm not really thinking about a title. One of my favorite things to do these days is just to put a ton of phrases on a layout, and that's kind of what I've done so far on this layout. And Mark makes fun of me because he'll come and look at my layouts, and the title that's actually popping off the page to you, he like doesn't even look at, but he like looks at all of the everything else, all the other words and everything that I put on a layout, and he like he pretends that, you know, that's the title. And I'm just like, oh, you're such a stinker. So here I am adding more distressing, or, you know, whatever you want to call that technique with the scissors. I'm just going to call it distressing. So I'm adding more of that to each of the little envelopes that I'm going to be using. And then I'm going to add that cute little tassel. So I put a tassel in each one of the clusters. So I have one in that cluster to the far left on the top of the layout, and then I'm also going to add one in the right cluster above the photo, and then I add one in that bottom cluster. Now I'm trying to place this little acrylic arrow, And I am also going to start putting down this camera and the word snap. And this is where I decide for the title, I'm going to use those black block tile letters. And those are from Illustrated Faith, and I got those at my Tuesday morning, and they are see-through, so, which I didn't realize. I just thought they were black. Nope, they are not. So the letter, you can actually see the color that's behind it, which is kind of cool. So I just added the word O to the top of that snap. So that little cluster down there says "Oh snap," and then also "Love it." And then now I'm working on the title, which says "Whose ball is it?" question mark. And then I'm going to add another little tassel. I totally lost that word for a moment. I'm going to add a tassel to that area at the end of the title. I'm also going to add the date. I wasn't sure what the specific date was, so I'm just going to put August 2017. So now here I'm doing the rest of the title, where I'm going to do a dialogue between Piper and Max. So the title is going to be "Whose ball is it?" question mark. And then down here it's going to say "It's mine," says Piper. And then "No, it's mine," says asks Max. And then I think I'm going to do on the side, like underneath that little area where I'm starting that dialogue, I'm going to do some journaling about how Piper is definitely the alpha of their little pack. Because it was definitely something that we were kind of curious if Max was going to step up. But then when we got Piper, like, no, he's definitely not the alpha. It's definitely Piper. And it's funny to watch them play sometimes because Max gets so scared of her, like, running him over. It's hilarious. And I know that probably sounds bad, but Max is such a scaredy cat. It's just so funny. He pretends to be this rough and tough guy. He's not. He's definitely a baby. Anyway, so that is my layout. I hope that you enjoyed watching this. Make sure you check out all the links below. I will have a link to Hannah's video as well as the ladies that are joining in today with Off the Board. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!